I'm attempting to do a part 2 to what I did this morning. So I've got to prepare dinner for my family. So I'll be doing that while I'm talking to you. I think I left off whereas when you move to a new place or city or state and you get into the dating scene, that some of the native women feel intimidated or see you as a threat. And what's even more confusing to me is that some of the men that they did not even pay attention to in the first place, all of a sudden, these guys become very interesting because he's now paying attention to the new lady on the scene and to the dating scene from another place. And or either one of the guy could have been a playboy or whatever, but see, the woman that comes into the place, she doesn't know this, so she's gonna have maybe a different impression about the person, and they may question, well, what does he see in her? How come he acts different or acts changed now that he's with her? Because sometimes if a person sees the same type person over and over and over, they become oblivious and they get used to treating who accept the treatment that he gives them, and he expects them to act in a certain way. You know, he doesn't see what something else will look like. So when they do see something that is different, it's most likely giving them this insight like, oh, I see something that I've never seen before. Or, oh, that's giving me the vibe to better myself. Because we can't change anybody. That's the thing that females don't understand. You cannot change anybody. They have to have that change within. And so if they begin to change within because they want to become a better person or accomplish something they haven't accomplished before, because a new person has come in and given them new hindsight or open their eyes to things they have not seen, of course they're going to bring about a change in themselves. And don't blame that woman because she brought a new knowledge into that place or presented that energy in that man's space. Maybe God sent that woman there for him to make a change within himself. That's why I've heard that a man changes himself for certain women, not for every woman. So just because you see that change in him that he's made because of that energy of that woman, it does not mean that you're going to get the same results. That's just outright facts. A man changes because he wants to change. A person changes because there's something that goes off, a light bulb goes off in their head, in their nature, that says, hey, I want to become better. I want to be a better man. Something just went off in his head. So be it a woman or a man coming into a new environment, that affects the energy of the people around them. Don't get mad at them. They didn't make somebody change. They didn't make somebody become something that you tried to make them into. Those people changed because they wanted to. They changed because the energy changed. Understand what I'm saying? I could only imagine what my mother went through. My mother and father have been married for 56 years. She moved from one city to another city. My daddy was the so-called playboy of the city. And the women there at first, they could not understand, hey, how this man, he stopped drinking, he stopped hanging in clubs, he went back to school, he cleaned up his life because my mother was sent into his life for a reason, and his eyes were open and her energy changed him. Her energy, I say energy, not her, because the change has to come within the man. But it was not without trial and tribulations. Because whenever you go through a change, there's always trials and tribulations. But what I'm saying, don't get upset because God put people in a certain place to enhance for the Most High's use. That man had to go through a change because now there is something that the Most High wants to do with him or do with this couple. Don't get mad about that. I mean, your chance is coming. But you do not interfere what God has put together. And you have to know whether or not God has put it together. My grandma said a lot of people get married and it wasn't put together by God. But only those things that are put together by God will sustain and be able to go through the trials and the tribulations of life. You can't force something. You can't force a square into a circle. You can't force a person to do what you want them to do or to conform into who you want them to be. It is not for you to decide. That's an ordained thing. That's something from God. That's something that comes from divinity. And people sitting in church still don't understand it. Oh, I'm going to get a church. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to find me a husband. And I'm going to take him out the street and I'm going to change him around. No, honey. You have to meet a person on the ground that he comes in on. You can't go in thinking you go change somebody to suit your purpose. And you can't make suddenly a hoe into a housewife. Or a house husband, or however you want to put it. That's a change that has to come on him. And like I said, men will change themselves for certain women and not for others. This one woman was with this man for years and years. He never changed. He continued to be the hoe. He continued to drink. He continued to do this and that. But when he decided to make a change, when he met another woman, he was a different man. Yes, he wasn't drinking. Yes, he was staying in. He was content and happy to be at home with her. So you can't force somebody to be what they're not ready to be. When it's time, it's time. But I need to get the cooking because they'll be over here in a little bit. And blessings to you. And I hope you got something out of part 2. I got to get busy because it's going to take me a while. Y'all have a blessed day from Colored roses and thorns, many blessings, and hopefully you've gotten some understanding out of this video. Gotta go, sweeties.